Hari Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Blessed souls, Pranamam. The Upanishads are the bedrock of Indian philosophy. The Upanishads are the bedrock of the darshan of Sanatana Dharma. The Upanishads are also known as the Vedanta. By Vedanta, we mean two things at least. The Upanishads are at the end of the Vedas. By that, we mean two things at least. The Upanishads occur at the end of the texts of the Vedas. The Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sama Veda, the Atharva Veda. The Upanishads, many of the Upanishads occur at the end of the text. In that sense, Upanishads are at the end of the Vedas. Of course, there are also Upanishads which occur in the Samhita portion, sometimes in the Brahmanas, in the Aranyakas, and so on. But by and large, they occur at the end of the Vedas. The other meaning is that it is the teachings contained in the Upanishads. The highest truth contained in the Upanishadic teachings. It is this truth that is aimed at by the Rishi when he walks us through the rest of the portions of the Vedas. When the Rishi takes us through the Samhita portion containing the mantras, through the Brahmanas, where it is prescribed as to how to use the mantras in rituals, and then the Aranyakas, which are a kind of a bridge between the Karma Kanda and the Jnana Kanda. When the Rishi takes us through these, the Rishi is actually preparing us for the grand peroration contained in the Upanishads. The Rishi is priming us to receive this highest truth. In that sense also, Upanishads are the end of the Vedas, or the Upanishad is Vedanta. Very often we speak about the Prasthanatraya. The Prasthanatraya comprise the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutra, and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Upanishads are part of the Shruti. Veda is otherwise known as Shruti because more than in the beginning, Vedas used to be transmitted through word of mouth rather than the written word. The mantras had been seen by the mantra drashtara, the rishis. They had seen the mantras, or in other words, they had heard the resonance of the mantras. The mantras had reverberated in their minds, and they had passed it on to us through the word, by the word of mouth. So Upanishad is Shruti, Shrauta. Many of the expressions in the Upanishads can cause difficulties in the understanding of the person who studies it, because some of the words, some of the expressions have different meanings according to the context, different contexts. So it's very important that we understand the meanings of those words fully and understand against what context it has been used and in what sense it is to be taken in that particular context. For example, if we take a word like Atma, in some places it might mean the Paramatma. In some places it might mean the Jivatma. Thus, Atma may mean the cosmic soul or the individual soul. Now, the extent of the meaning doesn't stop there. Sometimes Atma would be used in the sense of the body, the mind, the intellect, or merely in the sense of the self, small self, the self starting with the small letter, self, Swayam, in that sense also. This can create some difficulty in understanding the word meaning, the sense in which it had been used in that particular context. Brahma Sutras, what they aim at is compiling the entire, reflecting the entire sense of the Vedas through sutras, through aphorisms, so that the difference in the meaning, these are properly explained or reconciled. Thus, the Brahma Sutras would be a great help and aid in understanding the essence of the Upanishads. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata, which is a Smriti, which belongs to the class of the Smriti. Thus, Upanishads of the Shruti, Srimad Bhagavad Gita of the Smriti, and the Brahma Sutras, which give us the essence of the Upanishadic teaching. These three comprise the Prasthanatraya. These three works take us to the highest learning. Upanishad, the word Upanishad could perhaps be explained like this. Upa means close by, near. Ni means fully, nitaram, fully. And then Sad. Sad has, in this context, three meanings. One is Vishiranam, which means the taking away, or rather the weakening. Then Gati, that is the path. The third is Avasadhanam, that is the liquidation. Upanishads, when we study Upanishads, by reflecting on what has been mentioned there, all our bondages are dissolved. It provides the gati. It helps us attain Atmajnana, the ultimate reality. By the word attain, we do not mean that we get to a place where we are not now. Not in that sense. We already are consciousness. pure consciousness. But then we have to come to that awareness. That is what is meant by Gati. And then all the Jiva Bhava, which gives us so much of trouble, is liquidated by the study of it. This is the meaning of Upanishad. It's also explained in a slightly different way. Upa means close by, Ni means below, and then by the part of the word Shat, we mean sit. By sitting at the feet of the Guru, we learn this. In that sense also, Upanishad is, in that way also, Upanishad is explained. We intend to go through the Isavasyopanishad in the first instance. To begin with, we plan to go through Isavasyopanishad. Before we start the Upanishad, I must say that I really do not know how to recite the Vedic shlokas in the way it is prescribed to be recited. The Vedic shlokas, the Vedic mantras are recited according to the rules. There is a particular rule for the recitation. Sometimes it is with a higher note, sometimes with a lower note. The sounds are pronounced with different accent in different ways. I have not been trained to do that. So I will be reciting, I am forced to recite the Upanishadic mantras like ordinary shlokas. Bear with me for that. With this introduction and with this admission, let us enter the Isavasya Upanishad. Pranamam to all blessed souls. Hari Om.